Sister's barbs, parents' cruel laughter, uniform drenched in wine. Then her ranger fiancé spotted my coin, his voice sharp. Stop. We're done. My sister humiliated me at dinner. My parents laughed along, and a moment later, wine was soaking my uniform. But it wasn't the wine that truly stopped the room cold. It was the coin that dropped from my jacket, clinking on the tile. And then her ranger fiancé, Michael, saw it and said just 3 words that blew my entire life apart. Stop. We're done. My family always saw me as the unseen one. I was useful when they needed something, and a punchline when they didn't. For years, I just let it go. But that night, they crossed a line and everything exploded. Let me start at the beginning. My name is Evan Carter, and I've been in the Army for 11 years. I work in signals intelligence at Fort Meade, deep inside SCIF. My parents, Susan and Thomas, never really bothered to ask what that meant. My sister, Claire, just assumed it was desk work and turned it into a running joke. Things got worse when she got engaged to Michael from the 3rd Battalion, 75th Ranger Regiment. Suddenly, my uniform, or her perception of my uniform, became part of their entertainment. About 8 years into my service, I was pushed into a joint task force. My family, of course, had no idea. All they knew was that I worked near Baltimore and couldn't talk about it. Claire made sure that last part was always a punchline. During holidays, she dropped little comments like, "Evan's too busy filing to help us move," or "Don't ask Evan about work, he gets all weird." My parents, they'd just nod and laugh. My dad would even clap me on the shoulder, saying, "Somebody's got to push papers, right?" I let it slide. Operational security was everything. You don't correct misconceptions when your work demands secrecy. But Claire wasn't satisfied with quiet digs. She needed an audience. I should have seen it coming when she started dating Michael 11 months before all this blew up. He was everything she wanted. A visible combat veteran type who wore his brown beret to civilian functions and loved sharing deployment stories at parties. One day in early March, she invited me to a gathering at her place. I almost said no. I just finished a brutal 52-hour stint tracking a network in Syria, running on fumes. But she insisted, saying it would mean a lot. When I got there, the apartment was packed with Michael's ranger buddies, fresh off rotation, beers in hand, loudly talking about firefights and jumps. I showed up in jeans and a gray hoodie, exhausted with only 4 hours of sleep and too much coffee in me. "There he is," Claire announced. "Evan, my big brother, the government employee." One of Michael's mates, a huge guy built like a tank with tattooed forearms, grinned at me. "What are you doing, man? Intelligence analysis? You like spy stuff?" Before I could answer, Claire cut in, more like Excel spreadsheets. "Evan just glances at computers, files, and reports. Very thrilling." The guys laughed. Not malicious, just dismissive. Michael joined in. "Hey, no shame. We need support staff, right? Someone's got to process the papers." I just replied quietly. I stayed for about an hour, eating wings and watching the game. No one asked me anything else. Claire kept the remarks coming. "Evan's too exhausted from typing," or "Don't bore them with work discussions." As I was leaving, Michael followed me to the door. "Hey buddy," he said, "don't take her jokes personally. Sisters, you know. She's always talking about you." He continued, "So, you actually do intelligence work? Like, where are they?" "I can't say," I told him. He nodded, like he understood. But his eyes told me he thought I was exaggerating. For weeks later, my father called. The car had broken down, transmission shot. They needed $4,200. I wired it that night. 17 days later, Claire's Instagram showed her and Michael at a high-end DC restaurant. Champagne caviar. Caption: "When your lover pampers you, right?" I called my father. He confessed he'd given Claire $2,750 of my money. She needed it for Michael's birthday, he said. I sat in my car at Fort Meade, phone in hand, just staring at it. Then my security manager called. Situation emerging in East Africa, Carter. Needed in the operations center. I went to work. The engagement announcement came in late April. Claire called at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. I'd just gotten out of the SCIF after an 18-hour shift. I checked my phone in the parking lot. 21 missed calls, all Claire. I called her back. You couldn't even respond, she screamed. Evan, I'm engaged. This is the most important moment in my life, and you neglected me. I was working, I said, my jaw tightening. You are continuously working, or so you claim to be, she shot back. Michael said real military makes time for family. If you actually cared, you'd pick up. Tell Michael about genuine operational security, I muttered. Oh my God, Evan, stop. You work in an office. Stop claiming to be special forces. I didn't respond. Whatever, she continued. Michael and I are hosting an engagement celebration on May 24th. You're paying for it. Claire, you owe me. Evan, she pleaded. I used to cover for you, growing up. Make you look good. Now you're going to appear too serious to enjoy my joy. I didn't say that. Then you pay. Ruth's Chris, private room. I'll send you the details. She hung up. I called back. She answered instantly. Changed your mind. I'll attend the party, but I won't pay for it. Silence. What? I asked. I'm not paying. Ruth's Chris costs money. Are you serious now? After everything, she demanded. I asked again and left totally. Evan, you cannot. I hung up. She called back. I didn't respond. She texted. I didn't respond. My father called the next morning. I let it go to voicemail. He left a long message about family, responsibility, and how selfish I was during Claire's special occasion. I deleted it and went back to work. That's when I met Emily. The ER at Baltimore General was buzzing for a Wednesday night. I was there because I'd cut my hand open on a filing cabinet drawer. Stupid accident, deep enough for sutures. The nurse who escorted me back had dark hair in a bun, piercing eyes, and the calm of someone who'd seen awful things. Her name tag said Emily. How about a filing cabinet? She inquired, scrutinizing the cut. Yeah, it was a terrible day at work. She prepared the suture equipment. This will sting. It did. I didn't react. She looked up. Are you in the military? How do you know? Posture. Most people recoil when I say sting. You didn't blink. 11 years in the Army. She nodded. 4 years in the ER teaches you to read people. She stitched with smooth, precise movements. So, what does a military guy do with filing cabinets? I can't really talk about it. Classified. Something like that. She finished the last suture. Try to keep the classified filing cabinets from attacking you. I almost smiled. I will do my best. She gave me care instructions. Return in 12 days for removal. Ask for me. I did. She removed the stitches and we talked. Nothing deep, just simple. She was someone who didn't press for answers I couldn't provide. I asked her if she wanted coffee. She said yes. It was 5 months before Claire's engagement celebration. By May, we'd been dating for over 4 months, albeit long distance. I was home or traveling for work, and when our schedules coincided, she was in Baltimore for ER shifts. Late night calls, weekend visits. Emily avoided drama and games. It was straightforward with her. One night in early May, I was on the phone complaining about Claire's latest demands. Let's get things straight, Emily said. Your sister has asked you to pay $3,400 for her celebration. That was the original demand. You said no. What happens next? She lost it. Dad left a voicemail about family obligations. Mom texted me an essay on how I'm destroying Claire's special occasion. There was silence. Then, what are you getting for your money? She asked quietly. Peace or permission to be disrespected? I stopped pacing. What? You heard me. If you encourage poor behavior, it doesn't cease. It multiplies. I had no answer. Evan, she spoke quietly, I work in trauma. I recognize the difference between someone who has been hurt once and someone who continues to walk into the same fire. 17 days later, the engagement party invitation arrived. Claire mentioned me as attending, but did not include a +1. I emailed her, "I'm bringing Emily." She replied, "No, family only. Michael's team only. No random girlfriends." Emily read the text and handed my phone back. Insulting someone you treat like an ATM is bold. I texted Claire again, but this time it wasn't a request. She's coming. Claire called. I ignored it. She texted, "Emily has threatened to have a meltdown if you come with me." Okay, good, I texted back. Boundaries concern those who do not have any. The week of the party, a target package I had created months before was successfully completed. Clean. No civilian casualties. I was called into Chief Warrant Officer 3 Morales' office. "Staff Sergeant Carter," she said. "Not Evan, not Carter. Full rank." That always meant something. "Yes, ma'am." The task force commander extends his congratulations. "The package saved lives." "Thank you, ma'am." She studied me. "You look hammered as hell. When was your last sleep?" "A few hours yesterday. Real slumber." I had to think. A week ago, maybe 4 hours. "You have 76 and used days of leave. Use them." "I have a family event this weekend. I'll rest after that." "Does your family understand what you do?" "No, ma'am." "That must be hard." "That's okay." "It's not okay," she said firmly, "but I can still order you to leave." Monday marks the beginning of a 12-day period. The party was on Saturday night. I put on my dress uniform. Claire had argued Michael thought it was cool. Emily wore a modest black outfit, peaceful as always. At Ruth's Chris, the hostess checked the list. "Carter party. You're down for 1. "Make it 2, I said. She paused. I didn't. Before we even entered, I pulled the organizer aside. "If there's a card on file under my name, remove it." "Remove it," I urged, "or I speak with the management." She removed it. The private room was white and gold, with about 30 attendees. Claire stiffened when she saw Emily and me. Before she could speak, Michael put a hand on her arm. There were 2 vacant chairs jammed into a far corner. I ignored them, dragged 2 chairs to the center of the room, and sat down. Emily sat next to me. My mother was staring. Claire looked like she was sipping battery acid. Dinner began. Wine flowed. Conversation buzzed around us. Claire and Michael started whispering around 7:45 p.m. She kept gesturing toward me. He kept shaking his head. Eventually, he approached and sat near me. "Can we chat outside?" he asked quietly. In the corridor, he didn't resemble the noisy guy from the party. "Claire's been making jokes about you since we started dating," he said. I went along with it. I thought it was harmless. I waited. But last week, she told me about her plans for tonight. This enormous toast where she calls me a warrior and really implies that you push paper and disgrace yourself in front of everyone. "Why tell me?" I asked. "Because I noticed you've never defended yourself, which suggests you're either a doormat or someone who doesn't need to prove anything and won't understand." Anyhow, he met my gaze. "You are not a doormat." How did she respond when you urged her to stop? She claimed I was being dramatic. "That you don't mind." He paused. "Would you mind?" "Yes, Michael. I do mind." "Then I'll turn it off," he said. "And if she goes ahead anyhow, we'll leave. I'm not marrying someone who treats others like that." We headed back indoors. Claire stood with her wine glass at approximately 8:50 p.m. The room became quiet. "Thank you all for coming," she said cheerfully. "This year has been amazing. I met Michael, my soulmate and hero." "You're everything I ever wanted," Michael said, clenching his jaw. "And I'd like to thank my family, particularly my older brother, Evan, who was able to take time away from his crucial office work to be here." Polite laughter. "I know it must be difficult for Evan," she continued, seeing Michael in uniform and learning what true military service is like. but I appreciate him showing up, even if he spends his days filing reports. And Michael? Claire, Michael said, sharply standing. Stop. What? She blinked. You are disrespecting your brother in public while wearing his uniform. It's only a joke. He doesn't care, right? Everyone turned toward me. I stood and looked at her, then at my parents. Stop, I said quietly. Silence. We are leaving. I turned toward the door. Claire's voice rose. Evan, you can't just... My mother stood. Evan, stop being dramatic. She's simply teasing. I continued walking. Claire hurled the wine. The glass sailed past Michael. He had moved between us. I attempted to block her, but Claire surged sideways. The wine hit me across the chest. Cold. Shocking. A deep red developing across my army blues. The restaurant became utterly silent. Michael spun on Claire. Are you out of your mind? He was leaving, she exclaimed. On my special night after everything I've... What have you had? Michael cut her off. He was humiliated. Someone mocked him. Has someone stolen his money? Claire's mouth opened. Nothing came out. Michael stared at me. Then his gaze went to my chest. The wine had soaked through and dripped onto the floor. As I shifted, my jacket pulled open. Something weighty slid from an inner pocket and then dropped. Metal clinked on the tile. The coin rolled once and landed near Michael's shoe. Michael's face transformed. In about 2 seconds, all the color went out. Oh no, he muttered. Oh no. Claire snapped. What are you? Michael didn't look at her. He was staring at the coin near his boot as if it were a live round. Is that it? He started, paused, and restarted. Where did you get it? I did not confirm, did not deny. I just stood there, soaked with wine. Michael's hands began shaking. How long? I replied gently. I can't talk about it. Morales's expression stiffened. Understood. You're one of the best targeters in this task force, she stated. But Carter, you have to understand something. You do not owe access to those who disrespect you, whether they are relatives or not. Yes, ma'am. I am serious. This work is difficult enough. You don't need people criticizing you when you're not working. Your leave stands 12 days. Rest. Define your boundaries. Come back prepared to work. That is an order. That night, Emily called. How are you holding up? Okay. The chief handed me 12 days of forced leave. Good. You need it. Listen, I have some news. Yeah. Hopkins offered me a post. Trauma surgery track. Better compensation, better hours, and true professional advancement. My chest tightened. That is wonderful. Are you taking it? I am. And I'm getting closer to you. I found a place in Columbia, which is midway between Hopkins and me. Yeah. Please help me move in next week. Absolutely. We spent the following week relocating her belongings. She had one box designated borders with a marker. What's inside it? I asked. Bubble wrap, she said with a deadpan expression. Useful for protecting personal space. Her delivery almost had me laughing. On the 5th day of my leave, I was helping her put together a bookcase when my phone rang. Unknown number. Yeah, Evan Carter. The male voice was older and strange. Who is asking? Frank Carter. Your uncle, your father's brother. I hadn't spoken to Uncle Frank in about 7 years. He lived in Pennsylvania, showed up on key holidays, kept to himself. What is up, Frank? Just wanted to let you know your parents are telling everyone you had a breakdown, that you attacked Claire at her engagement party, that you are unstable, and that they are concerned about you. My hand squeezed around the phone. They are saying what? Thomas called me 2 days ago. He claimed you flipped out during the party to intentionally embarrass Claire, and Michael left because you threatened him. They mentioned that they are considering getting you a wellness check. Emily glanced up from the shelf she was working on. What is wrong with my mouth? I put my phone on speaker. Frankly, none of that is true. I assumed Thomas had been covering for Claire since she was 16. If something goes wrong, it's someone else's fault. Usually yours. He paused. What exactly happened? I told him the entire thing. The money, the mockery, and the alcohol. Michael recognized my unit membership and called off the engagement. Silence on the other end. Then, the little psycho flung wine at you? Yeah. Susan and Thomas laughed? Yeah. Jesus, Frank breathed forcefully. Listen, I can't stop them from telling stories, but I can make a few calls. Set the record straight with the family. If they try this wellness check nonsense, I'll shut it down. You do not deserve this. Thank you, Frank. Call me if you need anything. I mean it. Evan, you're a good child. Always has been. Don't let them convince you differently. He hung up. Emily looked at me. They're attempting to dominate the narrative. Yeah. Are you going to let them? I thought about it. No. She smiled. Good. Do you want me to assist you draft a message? We spent the next hour composing an email. Clean, professional, no emotion, only facts and boundaries. To Thomas Carter, Susan Carter, and Claire Carter. From Evan Carter. Subject: future boundaries. I am writing to set clear expectations. I will not be attending any family activities. I won't be providing financial assistance. I will not be available for phone calls, texts, or in-person appointments. If you distribute inaccurate information about me, I will publicly rectify the record and provide verification. If you continue to contact me after receiving this warning, I will seek legal action, including restraining orders. This is not negotiable. This is not a transient situation. These are permanent limits established after years of disrespect and recent attack. Don't contact me again, Evan. I reread it 3 times. Emily reread it twice. Send it, she said. I sent it. My mother responded within an hour. A lengthy email with 3 paragraphs describing how I had misunderstood, how Claire was only joking, how family forgives, and how I was being harsh and vindictive, breaking my mother's heart. Emily read it over my shoulder. That's not an apology, she explained. That is a justification using an apology filter. I removed it without replying. The following few months were quiet. I returned to work, put myself into it, developed packages, tracked targets, and completed the job. Emily and I got into a rhythm. She worked trauma shifts at Hopkins. I worked classified shifts at Fort Meade. We'd meet in the middle, prepare dinner, and talk about nothing. My life had never felt more normal. In July, I was chosen for Staff Sergeant First Class. The pinning ceremony would occur later that year. Chief Warrant Officer Morales also suggested me for a post at USACOM headquarters in Tampa, Special Operations Command, the type of posting that could launch a career. I accepted. Emily was offered a trauma fellowship at Tampa General that same week. She accepted as well. Looks like we're moving to Florida, she said. That does appear to be the case. We packed up her home in Columbia, moved south in September, found an apartment near MacDill Air Force Base, and began establishing a life. I haven't heard from my family. No phone calls, no emails, nothing. Frank Carter called once to check in. They are still telling people that you are unstable. Thomas tried to persuade me that you needed help. I told him that Claire needed help for attacking a military member. Thank you, Frank. You okay down there? Yes, very good. My work was challenging but rewarding. Emily was thriving throughout her fellowship. We had friends, a routine, and calm. Claire arrived at our apartment in November, 7 months after the engagement celebration. I was heading home from a 14-hour shift when I noticed her sitting on the stairs outside our building. Claire appeared smaller than I remembered, with black circles under her eyes. She stood up when she noticed me. Evan, please, I need to talk to you. I paused. How did you obtain this address? Mom handed it to me. Please, just 10 minutes. No, Evan. My life is falling apart. Michael won't speak to me. I can't date someone in the military. I lost my job. You need to leave. Yes, very good. My work was challenging but rewarding. Emily was thriving throughout her fellowship. We had friends, a routine and calm. Claire arrived at our apartment in November, 7 months after the engagement celebration. I was heading home from a 14-hour shift when I noticed her sitting on the stairs outside our building. Claire appeared smaller than I remembered, with black circles under her eyes. She stood up when she noticed me. Evan, please, I need to talk to you. I paused. How did you obtain this address? Mom handed it to me. Please, just 10 minutes. No, Evan. My life is falling apart. Michael won't speak to me. I can't date someone in the military. I lost my job. You need to leave. I do not know. It's your father. He's not my father, I said. He's the guy who gave Claire my money and smiled as she flung alcohol at me. Emily sat next to me. I am not going to tell you what to do, but I will tell you this. If you leave and he heals, they'll use it to show you still care, that you will return if they press the appropriate buttons. If you don't go and he dies, you'll question whether you should have. What would you do? She thought about it. I would go, not for them, but for myself, so I'd know I'd given them one final chance, and they'd either take it or not. However, I would want to set clear boundaries, and I would leave the moment they crossed them. I called Frank back. I'll come up, but I won't stay, and if they try anything, I'm leaving. Okay, fair enough. I will meet you at the hospital. The flight to Pennsylvania lasted 2.5 hours. Emily came with me. We rented a car and drove to the hospital silently. Frank greeted us in the lobby, looking older than I remembered. He told me he was in the intensive care unit. Stabilized, although it's touch and go. Susan is up there. Claire, too. Great. He looked at Emily. You must be the girlfriend. Emily, a trauma nurse. Good. We might need you in the elevator. He said, fair warning. Your parents are telling everyone that you abandoned the family. They're playing the victim hard. Of course they are. The ICU waiting room was small. My mother sat red-eyed, clutching tissues. Claire was beside her. They both looked up as we walked in. My mother's face flickered between shock, relief, and anger before landing on wounded. Evan, you arrived. How is he? Critical. They induced a coma. We won't know if there is brain damage for 72 hours. Her voice crackled. He might not awaken. I nodded, but did not move closer. Claire stood. Can we speak privately? No, Evan, please. Dad is dying. Can you set aside whatever? Whatever what? Was there an assault? What about the mockery? You stole the money, right? Her face flushed. I apologized. No, you emailed me about your feelings. That is not an apology. My mother rose. Evan, now is not the time. When is the time to talk about how you allowed her to steal from me and laughed when she threw wine at me? How you told others I had a breakdown? We never. Frank told me everything. My mother opened her mouth, but nothing came out. The doctor appeared. The Carter family. His condition has stabilized. We're cautiously optimistic. There are no visitors tonight. My mother sagged with relief. Claire cried. The doctor left. I turned towards the door. My mother grabbed my arm. Where are you going? Hotel. You should stay in the house. We have room. I would rather sleep in my car. Evan, please. Your father is dying. He is stable, and this is no longer an emergency. You're attempting to utilize a crisis to force communication. That is not fair. I got my arm free. Here's what will happen. I will come back tomorrow. I will see Dad. If he wants to chat, I will listen. But I am not staying with you. And if you try to manipulate me again, I'll leave permanently. Claire stepped forward. You are being cruel. Dad may die and you're. Say one more word and I'll walk out right now. She shut up. I left. Emily followed. Frank caught up to us in the parking lot. That went as planned, he said. Thank you for the caution. My reward. The hotel room features 2 beds. You and Emily can sleep there. We accepted. The next morning, my father was awake, groggy and feeble, yet alert. The nurse allowed me in alone. He stared at me. Evan. Hello, Dad. You arrived. Yeah. A long pause. He appeared pallid, somewhat smaller. I apologize, he whispered. I should have stopped her. I defended you. I did not. I was mistaken. Yes, you were. Will you forgive me? I thought about it. I do not know. You had 11 years to defend me and tell Claire to stop. 11 years to regard me as more than a checkbook. You always chose her. He nodded with wet eyes. I understand. Okay, here's the deal. If you recover, things will be different. I am not your backup plan. I'm not an ATM. If you desire a relationship, you must earn it. You established boundaries with Claire. You respect me. If you can't do it, we're finished. Okay, he muttered. I mean it. I understand. I left. My mother tried to stop me. I continued walking. Claire waited outside. What exactly did he say? She demanded. That is between myself and him. I need to know if... Claire, you've abused me, stolen my money, and humiliated me for years without ever apologizing. You've talked about emotions, envy, and wanting forgiveness, but you've never admitted you were wrong. Until you do, there is nothing to talk about. I apologized. You made excuses. What do you want from me? Nothing. Leave me alone. We are family. Family does not treat each other the way you treated me. We are just connected. I walked away. She did not follow. Emily was waiting in a rental car. How did it go? Dad apologized. Sort of. Claire attempted to pry. I closed it down. You okay? Yeah, I'm okay. We drove back to Tampa in the afternoon. My father healed slowly. He called once and inquired how I was. 10 minutes of small talk, no mention of Claire, no guilt trips, simply conversation. The first real one we'd had in years. My mother sent a 1-page letter this time. I understand that we failed you. I'm not sure how to solve it, but I am proud of you. I am proud of your service. If you ever want to talk, I'm available. I retained the letter and did not react. Claire never contacted me again. Frank called every few weeks to provide information on Dad and the rest of the family. He became the bridge I did not realize I needed. Emily and I were having supper in June, 14 months after the engagement party. When she said so, I've been looking at houses. There is a place near MacDill for bedrooms and enough for an office. I guess my chest warmed. Yeah, if you want. I pondered about the previous year, the tranquility, the limits. Emily is solid, bright, and devoted. I believe we should look at properties. She smiled. Good. Saturday. We purchased the house in August, moved in September, created something that was not bound together by obligation or guilt. For the first time in my life, I felt right at home. 7 months later, Michael sent me an email. Short and professional. Staff Sergeant Carter, I just wanted to let you know that I was promoted to Senior Sergeant, First Class, and have been assigned to a training duty at Benning. I share your tale with each new Ranger class. Not the classified parts, just the section about respect. About how real professionals don't gloat. They just get the job done. Thank you for your example. Stay safe. SFC Michael. I read it twice before going to locate Emily in the backyard, growing tomatoes. Michael emailed, I said. Yes. What did he say? I told her. She brushed dirt off her hands. It sounds like he learned something. Yeah. Are you going to respond? I thought about it. No. He spoke everything he needed to say. She nodded and returned to planting. I watched her steadily construct something real. Some individuals will never acknowledge you for who you are, and that's fine. You do not need them to. All you need to do is finally see yourself. So I did.